Okay, so welcome to a class about mindset. Okay, so what do you guys know about mindset?
Um,
I would say if we're determined to do something, so you actually make up your mind to achieve something. So you basically have a set of goals which you want to achieve, and how you choose to achieve those goals. I would say that would be a mindset.
That's good. That's good. All right.
yeah, I was gonna say similar, having a plan and sticking to it.
Mhm. Okay, that's good too. So let me move on to this. See, you probably have noticed that goal setting doesn't work. I mean, doesn't work all the time. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. Affirmation, same thing. Pumping yourself up, like, I got to go do this, it usually doesn't work as well. So that's where your secret is. I mean, you're all here for a reason, right?
Yes,
Yes.
And you know what it is. You don't have to tell me, but you know what the reason is, right?
Yeah.
yes,
And you know how you would feel once you get that, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
definitely.
Yes. Awesome. So, that's what it is. It's like going with, like with a goal in mind when you approach something. If you're just like window shopping, it's a hit or miss. But if you go with a goal, then you're very likely to achieve it. So let me kind of unpack what mindset means. And mindset is, this is something that you need to kind of deep down think about. What do you believe about X? And X could be money, career, business, personal life, relationship, health, world peace, whatever it is. Because from that, everything else, let's say if your belief about money is, money is the root of all evil, okay? Is that a good mindset, or is that a good belief to have?
I wouldn't say that would be a good belief. I wouldn't say money is important to be happy, but then sure, it can definitely make me happy.
Yes, yes. So, but think,
So, yeah, please
go
go.
ahead. Go ahead.
So I don't say money is the root cause of any evil. I mean, it's what you decide to do with that money. You could do bad things. You can go buy drugs with that money, or you could actually help others with that money, which would kind of make you happy.
Absolutely. So any limiting belief that, money is the root of evil, or, rich people, they only got rich because they did something wrong or they gamed the system, those kind of beliefs are not good if you are looking to make money, right?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah. So you have to first think about what it is, what is your belief about whatever it is that you're looking at. Same thing applies to relationship health. And so let's just say that your goal is to make whatever your salary is. Let's say you want to double your salary in, let's say, 2 years. Okay, let's say that's what your goal is. So what do you believe about that? Do you think you would be able to achieve it? If the answer comes up as it's going to be challenging, then it's definitely going to be challenging. But if you look around and you find out, oh, okay, if I did this course or if I get this skill, I will be able to achieve that, then you would more likely be able to get to that. So that comes, that's what the thinking part is. And how do you feel, once your salary is, you increase your salary to 2 times your current salary after 2 years? How do you feel about that? If you feel like, yeah, I mean, I can definitely achieve it, then you're more likely to achieve it. Versus if you again think about like, or start feeling like, man, it's going to be a bit of a challenge because I'm already, maxed out in terms of how much time I can spend or how much resources I have, then it's less likely you'll be able to get that. And the next part is, how do you see failure? Do you see it as, okay, you failed and that's something terrible, or do you see it as, okay, it's feedback. It didn't work. Let me see. There's some people typing in the chat. Okay, yeah, so, all right, so we have two, I don't know if you can read this in the chat. It's like Olu has, or it's, yeah, how do you say your name? Anachuna?
It's
So,
Obi and Uju, but it's Juju.
oh, Juju, okay, Juju has said, or Juju, you want to say your question?
Yeah, so I was more so like, I don't know, I've just been thinking about like how I'm going to graduate. I'm a healthcare coordinator, and then I'm eventually going to get my certification. And I'm more so thinking, what is the starting salary that I should go with, that I should, transfer to a new industry or a new job, just in general. And I'm more so wanting to not only know what my worth is in the current market, but believe in it when I'm stepping to these interviews, when I'm eventually doing the work and, elevating from there. So this is kind of answering my question of making sure that I have the correct mindset in alignment with my skills and not like limiting myself.
Yes, that's a very good point. And also you may want to look at successful examples. So let's say, Bridget has also sent the link for to Glassdoor for salaries. So look at the salaries and try to aim for the higher level and look at job descriptions that actually pay that salary. Then you'll start seeing what are the skill sets that are needed. And many a times, if the skill set is completely new, so I'm just giving you this example. Let's just say that, in this remote working environment, let's say if you were to say, I coordinated a team effort to make sure that we were able to transition from face-to-face to remote work or something to that effect. Now you don't actually have to be expert because that is something new. And if you can show that you were able to do that, then you're automatically in. So if you go for something that is new and something that is not many people have experience, you can get away with a lot less skills and a lot less experience. But if you're looking at something that a lot of people have experience in, then you definitely have to have all the bells and whistles and certifications and all that. So look for an area where there's not much of a competition. So again, I don't know what your area is, but if I don't know how much you want to share, it's totally fine. But just, look at that and see what it is that would give you that advantage.
Thank you.
Okay. And Bridget is also mentioning that she's with her husband. So the husband is on conference call. And so that's why she can't talk. And so it will actually, if you fill in a survey, it will actually give you what your salary is based on your experience, location, and things like that. And again, play around with that. You could even like change things, like, if you were to have experience in certain new field, see how it changes the salary. Okay. So that takes us to the next point, which is, how do you see failure? Let's say you applied for a job. Okay. One thing that I want you to think about is, how do you process things? If you process things as, if I don't get the job, it's a losing situation, versus you go in trying to learn from that. And I'll discuss more about this in the next slide. And what changes do you need to make? We kind of talked about it a little bit, which is, like, what are the skills you need, or do you need to learn something new, or do you need to kind of reconfigure what you already know? All right. So that brings us to the next one, which is, what is a good mindset then? All right. Okay. So if your mindset is, I can figure anything out, and in this day and age of Google and YouTube, literally, I can literally tell you that you really can figure anything out. Because I've fixed my dryers in my house and washing machine and water heater, air conditioning. I've done tons of things in my house Why? Because of, we live in an awesome age of Google and YouTube. You can figure anything out. And also, if you type in your model number, there'll be somebody that has created a video that says, okay, take this part out, do this and that. So if your mindset is I can figure anything out, you probably will be successful. But again, you have to also be cautious. I'm sorry, somebody wanted to say something?
I'm sorry, I couldn't mute myself.
Okay, that's all right. And also you need to look at what your comfort level is. So if you are the kind of person who has never even, held a screwdriver, then you probably want to start slow. Don't want to start taking machines apart. That might cause more problems. Okay. And that actually leads into the next one, which is if your mindset is that every problem has a solution, guess what? You will be able to find it. But if the mindset is like, why does this always happen to me? It's terrible, or I would never be able to find a solution to that, then, that's a bad mindset. Versus a good mindset is there's always a solution. And the last one, which is actually really, really good, is there's no such thing as failure. It's only feedback. So let me give you an example. Since Juju, you're applying for a job. The thing is, before you go for the job, the worst thing that can happen, or even during the interview, throughout the entire process, the worst thing that can happen has already happened. Okay, listen to this carefully. Okay, for a job interview or job promotion, the worst thing that can happen has already happened, meaning you already don't have that job or you don't have that promotion. Okay, so it's already happened. So guess what? Whatever happens, you're going to learn something from that experience. You can use it and you can be successful the next time. So if you go with that mindset, you will be less needy. One of the things that actually kills results is actually two things. One is fear and the other is greed. If you are, you're scared, like, oh, if I don't get the job, what is the other people going to think about me, things like that. Or you're thinking about, oh, wow, I'm going to get that job and I'm going to buy this new house and that. So your mindset gets a little polluted. So instead of those extremes, think about what it is that you can learn and pay attention to the other person. It doesn't matter whether it's interview or anything else. The more the other person invests in you in terms of time and money and whatever it is, the more likely they will hire you, promote you, things like that. So let's say in the interview thing, if the other person starts telling you more about the company, more about his job, how he loves it and all of that, the more likely that you will get the job because the person is investing in you in terms of time. So show some interest in the other person. And also you need to do a little bit of homework, like find out what the company is about, where the company is headed, and ask questions. Usually in the interview, they always ask you questions. So instead of asking questions as to, how much salary would I get, those things should be actually kept towards the end when, they like you, you like them. And again, you need to go with the mindset of, is this the company where I want to work for? But you might be saying, oh, I don't have a job, I'll take any job. So in that case, be a little practical, but at the same time, you don't have to really beg for the job. You can still be picky. And if you already have a job, then chances of you trying to be picky are a lot higher. So remember this, it's only feedback, right? I mean, you look at anybody that has achieved anything in life, you'll realize that towards the beginning of their career, they actually slept in the garage, or they had their company in the garage, or they were homeless, slept in their car, or whatever. You hear all those stories. There is some truth to it. It's like the person was willing to take risk. If your mindset is, I want to be comfortable in my job, then guess what? You are less likely to take the risk that is needed to go to the next level. So sometimes our mindset keeps us stuck in a rut, which is a bad relationship or a bad job or a bad situation as far as personal life is concerned. But if you're willing to change, you're willing to put in some efforts, you'll more likely get better results. So I just wanted to give you a little, like an intro about mindset. And then we could talk more about it, but I'd love to hear from you guys as to, how do you see yourself applying this in your everyday life, whether it's career or it's personal or relationship or health?
Well,
I
Professor,
can,
I had to, oh,
go ahead, please.
Eric, I had to have a mindset shift when I applied for a position um, several years ago. And I remember the superintendent telling me, how am I going to be able to tell somebody else what they need if I don't have the credentials myself? And I had to shift my mindset, and that started me on my educational journey to getting my bachelor's and now my master's. So I had to go back and do the work and just shift how I thought that my everyday experience was good enough to get me in any position. Um, so yeah, that's what my
Good. Yeah, thank you for sharing. Anybody else?
I can actually share. This is actually, I had an interview about 4 hours today, so I can actually attest to this. In the interview, there was some skills that I do not have a feel for, but I did stay positive. So the way I approached it was, they asked, have you ever had approached this, and this? Do you know what this, and this? And I said, no, I'm not, but please tell me about it. And so they went ahead and told me and this and that. But at the end of the interview, I let it know, and I was like, this is a new skill set. I am not experienced in this. However, since I have these skills that parallel to it, I feel very confident. And the fact that in the culture of the company, and that was a big thing that I asked about the company culture, was that they're very collaborative and inclusive. I feel like we can still tackle any challenge that we may come, whether it be this or unexposed or unforeseen challenges that we may face. But the hiring manager felt very positive. He gave great feedback. He's like, that is very great to hear. So I just let him know, like, no, I don't have the experience in this. However, and then I approached it and talking about the skills that I do, that I felt parallel. He agreed to the parallel of the skill set, as well as that, since the company is an inclusive company, because he claimed it was an entrepreneurial type company where they work together to try to solve challenges. I said that, I just kind of mirrored that by saying, because of this culture, I feel like we can work very well to handle this challenge or any other challenges that we may face. So it's just a learning of new skills. I feel I'm pretty confident, but no matter what, we can still figure out. So just to show that, what they value is what aligns with me, and my skills may align, even though I don't have that exact skill set that they're looking for.
Eric, what you did was really awesome. And if you want, I can share something with you that would make it even more awesome.
Yes, please.
Which is, it's good that you mentioned it up front that, you don't have those skills, but you have something similar, right? So one of the things that is actually more important is when somebody else says something, right? So if it is their own suggestion or if their own belief, then they are more likely to accept it because, of course, it is their own belief, right? So the way you can start off with, I understand that you're looking for this and this, and I have this and this. And from what I understand, that these things are very, very parallel, very similar to each other. But I'm just curious, what do you think about this? Do you think this, I know these things, and you're looking for these things? How do these things match? And use your hands like this. So this is like you're matching them. So how do these things match? And again, you're not asking them for how are these things different. So be careful of the kind of words you use. So ask them, how do these things match? So when you ask them, how do these things match? The person automatically goes inside and starts looking for the reasons as to how they match. And if you ask a question as to how they are different, then they go in and start looking for the things that are different. See, our brains are interesting organ. it answers the question, or it goes in the direction that the question is leading to, even if the question could be negative. So if I were to say, don't think of your favorite dessert, the brain actually has to go inside to process that information. Okay, so make sure you give commands to the brain that will help you in going in that direction. Again, use this ethically. I mean, if you don't have anything that matches, or if you don't have interest in their company, then don't do that. I mean, do it only honestly and ethically, that if you really believe that you can do it and you're willing to put in the time and effort. And if they come up and say, you know what, these things are really not that similar, then you could ask them a question. So somebody knowing this, what do you think, how long would it take for somebody knowing this to be able to understand these things? So they could say, oh, maybe 2 weeks of training and you'll be able to understand this, since you already understand this, right? So something like that. So if the answer comes from the other person, guess what? They are talking more. And the more they talk, the more they are invested. The more they are invested, guess what? The more they are likely to hire you, to promote you, to buy from you, whatever it is. So anytime, there are studies that are done, like car salespeople, they found out that the most successful car salespeople were the ones that actually asked questions. And the worst were the ones that showed, oh, let me show you this shiny new red car. This has the, turbo milkshake blender, and this has all these features and bells and whistles. Okay, versus somebody says, okay, let's sit down and could you please tell me what you're looking for? Okay, you're looking for something that is reasonably priced, something that gives great gas mileage, something that is safe. Okay, then you say, okay, now I got 10 of these cars that kind of match what you're looking for. Let's take a look and see which one you like, right? So again, it does look like the buyer is in control, and you as the salesman is actually showing them that. So you could actually go in with the same mentality in a job interview. And Juju, this is also going to help you. You could say, you know what, from the job description, it looks like you're looking for somebody with this skill, and this skill, right? And they would say, yes. And then you say, I have this skill, and this skill. I mean, could you please, look at this and tell me how similar they are or how they match. Okay. And if they say, there's not much for match, we're really looking for somebody else, and you're really interested, you could say, I completely understand that. Never say negative things, or never say, oh, you know what, I mean, you are saying that these are different, but I've read a lot of literature that says this is different, this is similar. You could say, I completely understand that. And since your process is different, or the way you're doing is different, again, you're acknowledging them. Somebody with my skills, the things that I have, how easy would it be, or how long, never say how difficult, okay? Use the words carefully. How easy would it be for somebody having these skills to be able to master these skills, or to be able to be functional and be a contributing member to your team? Then they start going in, and then they say, okay, this is what you need to do, and this is what it is. And then you can say, I mean, I'm really interested in this position, learning these new things. And if you feel that I'm a good fit, then let's talk more, meaning, this is towards the end of the interview. So I kind of give you a brief overview. To summarize it, always look for what the other person is looking for, and then kind of come up with what you have and ask them to see how it is a match. Because if you tell them how it is a match, two things are going to happen. They might be daydreaming about something else, so they don't actually hear you, what you're saying, okay? Second thing is, they may say, you might be a match, but it may not be the way they are thinking, okay? They might be thinking that you're a match in a different way. But now you're telling them that, let's just say the person is looking for a car that is very safe and that has great gas mileage. And you're showing them a car that is red and that is shiny. It's a mismatch. But they never said that they're not looking for a red and a shiny car. Maybe they are already looking for one, but their main criteria is the gas mileage and safety. You see what I'm saying? So always get the requirement that they have, what they're looking for, and then what you have, see how it matches. And if it doesn't, ask them, what can be done to to get it to a point where it would be a workable solution for them. And it works in everything. It works in relationship, works in job, sales, anything. Do you see the application of what I just mentioned?
I do.
Okay, so I was wondering if I lost you there. Anyway, any other questions or anything else that you have in mind?
I have a question.
Right.
I'm in the middle of a career pivot, and I've been on a couple of digital interviews. It's really completely different than what I'm used to after being in my career for so long. For most of my career, I haven't had in the medical field. As long as you have a license and your license is clean, and you have a good reputation, people will hire you just with a snap of a finger. Is your license up to date? And then they hire you. So the whole interview process has been pretty interesting to me, to say the least. But I am a little older, and I feel like I'm facing some ageism. And I have to try to calm my mind and figure out, is it ageism, or is it just that I'm not what they're looking for? And I don't know, I've had periods of time where I feel just a lot of different things, and I'm not really sure how, to process it, what to think, and how can I can't change my age. I can't change my 20 years of working experience. You would think that that'd be a good thing, but in some people's eyes, it's not. And I just, I have a hard time occasionally, trying to work around that and get my mind out of negative thinking.
Okay. Sharon, you actually mentioned something really, really interesting there, because you said you can't get your mind out of negative thinking. And sometimes that could be based on experience. You go on tons of interviews and you keep hearing the same thing. So there might be some truth to it, or sometimes it could be that, the mindset. So again, if you go in with the mindset of, hey, I have this 20 plus years of experience, and I could be a great mentor to the junior staff. And also, even though my salary might be a little higher, but the number of errors that I make would be a lot lower than somebody who is new, and I would be able to be more productive than somebody who is, who is just starting. So think about the things so change your mindset, think about the things that actually make you more valuable, and start focusing more on those in the interview process. Saying if there is something that you can brag about, like you got the award for being safe, or good, or whatever it is, or even if you didn't get it, you could say, my team got these awards. Or even if nobody got it, you could say that I value safety, and come up with some statistics. You'll definitely find statistics where you'll find that the number of deaths that are caused by people that make mistakes, nurses, doctors, and other healthcare workers that make mistakes, is this much, and it costs the hospitals so much in brand reputation, as well as in lawsuits and things like that. Then you are actually pretty cheap for them, because you are experienced and you have, how to do things right, especially in this time. And you could even mention this COVID times. You need people that are cautious and that have a clean license, which is where you come into play. So yes, the world is really interesting. It's like a rainbow. Everything is actually true. Definitely there is ageism, and definitely there is it has something to do with the mindset, and also a manager coming into the interview process. Somebody who's interviewing you may come in with the mindset of ageism. But let's just say if you address it right away, you could say, I'm a little older, and I'm glad that I have so much experience, and I can be a lot more productive, and I can be a lot more accurate in terms of the type of things that I do. So you kind of bring it up front, and they will see the value in what you have to offer.
I'm gonna try that. These interviews that I have had have all been digital. You know, it's not a real person on the other end. And
Oh, okay.
yeah, I haven't gotten a call back after that. So I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong.
So tell me, what is the digital interview? Is it like questionnaire, or is it, what is it like? I mean, there's no real person there, or?
Right. So, from what I can sense is, you know, if you meet certain qualifications, you know, if they ask for a bachelor, you have a bachelor. Okay. If you have, whatever skill they're looking for, if it's on your resume and they feel like it's a match, then they'll invite you to do a digital interview. And so you log in, they give you this whole website to go to, and sometimes it's a real person, but it's a recorded version, and they're
Okay.
asking questions, general interview questions, and then you'll have 3 minutes to give your answer. And some of them will allow you to re-record your answer, and some of them don't. It all depends, but it's not like a lot of time to have a kind of back and forth discussion on anything. It's more of a, I feel like, and maybe I need to approach it differently, like you said, but I feel like it's, you know, I got to answer this question. You know, then it's the typical behavioral type questions. How did you handle an angry customer or something like that? So you never really get to, well, I haven't had the opportunity to have a real face-to-face interview.
All right, so let's go with the, how do you handle an angry patient? Patient, you said, or customer? What did you say?
No, customer.
Customer, okay.
I'm actually pivoting out of medical and trying to get into human resources, and I have no direct human resource experience.
Okay, so let's say, how would you handle, I mean, I'm trying to help you. How would you handle an angry customer who's screaming and yelling and maybe using some choice words? How would you handle that?
In the past, I've handled it, you know, a lot, just explaining a situation. Are you wanting to do like an interview type situation right now? Because I don't want to do that.
Okay, then I mean, I was just trying to help you, but if later on, if you want to call me and, so here's something that I have mentioned in the class that will also help. So let's just keep it generic. So one of the things that you could do is, like, there's something called pace and lead, which is you know, if the person is screaming and yelling, let them scream and yell. And then you say, I completely understand where you're coming from. And I do see that you have this, and this problem. So when you are actually listening to the customer, note down, you know, make a note of, you know, the bullets as to what exactly their issue is. And, you know, like, confirm that. So this is what you're calling about, right? Today, we are talking about this. You're angry because you didn't get this and this. Is that what you're looking for? So again, we are going back to what it is that the customer is looking for. Sometimes the customer is just angry and mad. They just want to be heard, okay? And sometimes, you know, they may be angry and mad, but they're angry and mad for a different reason. They're angry and mad because the nurse didn't smile, the doctor didn't spend enough time with them. But other than that, they're totally fine. So what exactly is the person looking for? So try to understand that. So in those digital interview questions, you could say, you know, first of all, I will completely listen to the customer and I will note down what exact problems and issues they have. And it's never a good idea to call the customer a liar or anything like that. You just say, I understand. You don't have to agree. I understand your situation. And then you say, I'm curious to know what it is that I can do to help you. So what would be the next step, sort of? Okay. So if you appear calm and collected in those kind of questions, and if you come across as somebody that's trying to understand the situation and trying to provide a solution, then they'll say, oh yeah, that's the kind of person we want in customer service. We don't want person that gets triggered and that just hangs up or, you know, transfers it to a supervisor. They typically don't want that. They want somebody that can actually handle it right there and make the customer happy, as well as get rid of the issue. Does that help, Sharon?
That does. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. So go in with, again, this is for everyone, go in with a mindset of curiosity. Kind of look for exactly what's going on. And then once you find out, then you start seeing how you are a match. And you can even ask them how you could be a match in that situation. All right. So Olu, you seem to be on camera. Is there something you want to ask?
No, sorry, I'm late. I just joined, so I don't have any questions yet.
Okay.
I just would like to listen in first.
Sure. And then today, you know, we're recording it right from the beginning. So, you know, once it's done, I'll upload it. So you should be able to see it. But I don't want to leave this recording for too long. I just want to leave it for a week or two so you guys can listen to it again, or people in your class can listen to it. And then I can delete it because some of these things, you know, it's personal information. So I don't want it to leave it too long on the internet. So. All right. Any other questions? Because I'm happy to keep talking about things. See, mindset is like the glasses that we wear. If you wear like blue glasses, you're gonna start seeing everything blue. If you start wearing yellow glasses, you're gonna see the same thing. And let me give you an extreme example. And again, you know, it doesn't matter which political party you're related to, but it seems like, I know there's a lot of tension between both the parties, like, you know, whether it's Republicans, Democrats, whatever it is. So if for whatever reason you happen to talk to somebody that belongs to the other side and you belong to a different side, start looking for the commonalities and start looking for what it is that they are looking for. What are they? I mean, the best thing is to get curious and ask questions, and you could say, oh, okay, so your party or your guy thinks X. You know, I'm just curious, you know, could you tell me more? And never ask, why do you think that way? You could just say, tell me more, because when you ask, why do you think that way, they feel like they are being attacked. Versus if you say, oh, your party thinks X, and I'm just curious as to, you know, what are the reasons behind that? So that way you get that, and try to look for commonality, or there are things that you can agree with. So there could be 5 things that they came up with and you can agree with only one. Just say, yeah, I mean, I understand those 4 things and I'm curious to know more about the 5th thing because that's what I believe in too. So forget, you know, just start taking out the things that you don't agree on and start building on the things that, you know, you agree on. So mindset is like a foundation. Okay, how you approach the world, that's your mindset. Whether it's social situation, whether it's personal situation, relationship, if you approach it with curiosity and with actually genuine need to understand the other person, then it's very likely that you will be able to get your outcome. Not only that, but the other person will be happy too, because the other person has actually told you what they want and you have somehow figured out, or you have kind of compromised somewhere in the middle. So the mindset of curiosity, playfulness, and not the mindset of putting the other person down. That's also not a good mindset. Try to, you know, be caring and understanding. And even though it may be hard sometimes to, you know, be caring and understanding with someone that may not see your point of view. But if you start digging deeper at the core, you'll see that there would be a lot more commonalities. And even if there are no commonalities, there'll be certain things that you would be able to agree on, or the ultimate thing is you could agree to disagree and just say, hey, here we are sharing a beer or whatever it is, and just enjoy that. Let's forget that, you know, whatever's going on in politics or other things. All right. So anything else? We still have like 20 more minutes, 19 more minutes. So feel free to ask any questions.
I have a question, Professor. So for instance, if you're working at a company for say 5-6 years, and if you're looking for that promotion, how do you go about it?
Okay, so can you repeat your question again?
So for instance, if you're working for a company, so it's been like say 4 or 5 years and you're good at what you're doing and you're looking for a promotion, how would you go about it?
Okay. That's a very good question. And again, it goes back to the generic formula that I said, which is, get curious about it. So instead of bringing you into the equation, you could just say, you know what, I was just thinking about this position, whatever. Let's just say, call it project manager position. So you could say, I'm just curious, I've been wanting to become a project manager, but I'm just curious, what is it, what type of skills, or what is it that is needed to become a project manager? And they may start telling you certain things. And you could say, that's so interesting. And I got this, this, and this. So what do you think I could do so that, it's a good match? Okay, so again, you're starting off with curiosity, getting what they want, and then kind of telling them what you have, and then asking them to see how there's a match over there. And if there is no match, you could say, oh yeah, I do see that. And, I would need your help. Could you please help me understand what I could do to get to the next level? So again, when you're showing them that your readiness or your willingness to go to the next level, that also sometimes, seals the deal. They may say, hey, she seems very interested. So let me see what I can do to help her. And sometimes people may just say that, in our company, the rule is you have to be in a position for 10 years. But if you go to some other company and you get that title of the project leader, let's say project manager title, then you could easily apply to the other company and get that position. So sometimes in larger corporations, there is either too much competition or they have some kind of rigid rules that you have to be there for X number of years before they can promote you. But if you already have the title from somewhere else and you go to another company, usually a smaller company, get that title, get a little bit of experience in there, and then you can jump back at the higher position or the position you wanted in a bigger company.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. You want, I can keep talking, or if you have any questions, we can take those as well.
So Professor just had one more question. So
Sure.
There are a lot of digital interviews these days. Like someone mentioned, you're doing these questionnaires, they give you kind of situations. I remember doing one with Amazon where they had these particular situations and they wanted to react around it. It's timed and we really don't know what can go right or go wrong. So just wanted to know your thoughts on that.
Okay. So again, that's a good question. It's the digital interview process. And again, you want to lead them down to the path where you want them to go. So whatever the question is, you could say, the way I would approach it is and approach it with, trying like understand what the situation is, understand what the other person is looking for, and then see, you tell them what you have and ask them to see how it's a match. Okay. So even if these are recorded questions, you could always tell me more about something interesting that you did in your last job. Okay. Guess what? You start off with, oh, I got this new project, and initially I was a little confused because there were a lot of things in that and I wasn't sure what to do. So this is how I approached it. I looked at the situation, I kind of broke it down into little pieces, and I started asking questions, and I tried to find out what exactly the team was looking for or the customer was looking for. And then I found the resources, or I talked to other people, and then that's how I was able to find the solution to that. So you are kind of showing them a process as to how you do things, because many times they may not be interested in what you have to say, but how you're approaching the problem. That's what they might be more interested in, because every situation is unique to some extent, and every situation is the same to a large extent, really. But the process, if you have a good process, how you process things, then you're very likely to be successful in most of the situations. Actually, these are some of the tactics. Chris Voss, if you get a chance, try to read his book. Really smart, really intelligent guy. This was hostage negotiations, and somebody was asking for like thousands of dollars, like I think $400,000 or something like that. And he was able to convince them to release the hostage for just a stereo, which probably may be less than $1,000. Seriously, I mean, I think it's Never Split the Difference. That's what the name of the book is. Chris Voss, Never Split the Difference, or something like that. I'll look up and I'll let you know. So, but I'll just text, I'll put it in the chat. It's Chris, Chris V as in Victor, OSS, Chris Voss. So look for his name. I think it's Never Split the Difference or something like that. Okay. As you guys are thinking as to what other questions to ask, maybe I'll just, Chris Voss. Never Split the Difference, yeah. Negotiating as if your life depended on it. So that's the book, okay? All right. Any other questions? Anything else you want to talk about? And again, if you already asked questions, you can still ask questions. And I do see some people that either joined in late. So I am going to make this recording available for a limited time because I know there is some personal information, so I don't want it to be out there for too long. But I will try to leave it on for 2 weeks or so. And then after that, I will delete it. So I do see some new people.
So it's just
Yes.
a question, sorry, a question about negotiation too, because if everyone goes with the mindset of never splitting the difference, would do you think there would be at the end of the day, because well, from some of the classes we took in the MBA, it says that in negotiations there's no win-lose or lose-win. It's always kind of like a win-win. Everybody just meets halfway, and you know there's no loser or winner in negotiations. But if we go in with the mindset of, look, I'm not leaving anything on the table, I'm here to win,
Okay.
then do you think we would be able to make great negotiations that way?
Yes, actually, you make a really interesting point. And Chris Voss, he's talking about like hostage negotiation, right? So that is already an unreasonable situation, right? I mean, you know, they've kidnapped somebody. You know, they are coming from a really unreasonable point of view. So it applies more over there. And in a corporate situation, again, before going for whether you want to split the difference or not, go for, again, I gave you the magic formula, which is for curiosity. Ask them what exactly they're looking for. And maybe you might be like, once you find out what they're looking for, maybe you can give them a lot more and say, hey, you know what, I'm going to give a lot more, but I expect a lot more in return too. Because after you give them what they're looking for, maybe, you know, they will be happy employees, happy customers, and they might give you repeat business. Who knows? So, you know, look at the big picture, find out exactly what they're looking for. And sometimes what they're looking for could be totally ridiculous. So throw that out. So if you go with the mindset of, okay, they're asking for $1,000 and I'm looking to spend 500, let's try to meet somewhere in the middle, 750. So, but versus if you start asking questions, okay, you're asking for $1,000. Could you tell me more about your product or your service? And then as you start getting more information, you may start realizing that it probably is really worth that, or you may start thinking that, that's not something that I would ever need. So you're not wasting your money on it. So go with the mindset of curiosity as to find out more before you actually approach it with, you know, I'm just going to split the difference. And splitting the difference is actually a lazy person's way, because typically both the parties are unhappy because both the parties have given up something. It's just a token like, oh, okay, you know, we didn't lose, but we didn't win either. But when you find out what the other person is looking for, and you are able to satisfy that, then both the parties are in a win-win situation, right?
All right, thank you.
Yeah, but you brought up a really interesting point. I like that. So again, the magic bullet, magic formula, go in with a mindset of curiosity, find out what the other person wants. And just the act of listening to the other person is actually make them um, more agreeable to what your proposal is and more willing to accept or more willing to listen to where you're coming from, because you already agree, you're already listening to them, you're already showing interest in what they're saying. But be genuine, really ask, what is it that you're really looking for? Especially, there are some people that are completely unreasonable, but if you give them like this is what I talked about in the previous class, is give them a graceful exit, then they're more likely to give you what you're looking for. Because they might be a crybaby for something. You give them that, and they're like, oh, okay, yeah, fine. All right, any other questions? By the way, mindset is actually very fluid and very dynamic. Don't think of this as you're born a certain way. No, you could always change it. You could always, it's like, uh, it's elastic. It can change shape. It can do whatever. And so just think about, so if we were to, go back to this, we have to recap, look at this, is, the goal setting combined with the mindset actually works really good. Affirmations combined with the mindset of, that yes, I can achieve this, I'll get curious and I'll be able to do this. Also pumping, you actually don't need to pump yourself up if you have a really good mindset. Okay. And then so start, like, do this, sit down somewhere where nobody can disturb you for at least, a few minutes, 10, 15, 20 minutes, and think about these questions. What do you believe about this? What do you think about them? How do you feel about when you get it or when you don't get it? How do you see failure and what changes you need to make? Go through these questions. I know I'm kind of going quickly through these, but this is already recorded, so feel free to watch it again. So think about what it is that you really want, and what it would feel to get that, right? So, and this is the good mindset, which is I can figure anything out. Every problem has a solution. There's no feedback. There's no failure. Sorry, it's only feedback. And that is certainly true if you look at a lot of the people that have been really, really successful. Many of them had string of failures before they were successful in wherever they are right now. All right.
This is Linda L. Boggs, and what you just said seems similar to visualization and going through that process of getting in the mindset that you want to have the mindset of, instead of having the mindset that you may have now. So visualization is a good practice to be able to get into that mindset.
Absolutely. And also look underneath, like, are you doing visualization on a surface level? Are you like visualizing how you would feel when you get the new job? Then go deeper and see what is your belief. Because some people mention, and actually those were good points, as to questions about ageism, I'm too old, probably nobody would hire me, or, I don't have X, Y, and Z, that's why they won't hire me. If you have any of those negative beliefs, what is it that you could do to counter those? What I'm saying is, if you have a good mindset is like a foundation, good mindset, then you would see any challenges as an opportunity to learn and grow versus something that is going to beat you down, right? And couple that with visualization, that would be awesome too.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, 5 more minutes left, and we have 9 people, total 10, including me. And again, I keep saying we live in an amazing, amazing age of Google and YouTube. Whatever you need, you can always find it. There's a solution. There's a way. Somebody has actually made a video, or there's an article about how to do it. So in this day and age, we are only limited by how much effort we are willing to put, how much risk we're willing to take. And again, it has to be, you need to be practical. You don't have to just leave your job and quit job and start applying for different jobs. Have a job. And also when you already have a job, and initially, if you don't have a job, try to get any job. Because once you have a job, you are less attached to getting a different job. So you're going to come across as less needy. Because even you may have all the qualifications, but if you come across as a needy or a clingy person, usually people don't like that. And even though you may qualify, you maybe have everything, they might not get a good feeling. It's all boils down to how they feel about you. If they feel good, they're more likely to hire you or promote you or to buy from you. So again, the magic formula is no matter what's going on, agree, then understand, ask questions, and then kind of provide what it is that you're willing to offer and let them see how it is a match. And once they see that, or if there is no match, then you can ask what can be done to bridge the gap between what they want and where you are. All right.
I think there's a different side to what I just heard you say about the clingy part. There is also the side of being a little bit too standoffish, to where
Yes.
the engagement is not genuine, out of fear of appearing to be too clingy or needy. I mean, for myself, I'm probably the one who would stand back, because I'm naturally very independent. So I have to force myself to be more engaging just because of that's just who I am. And I appear to be friendly, and I appear to be wanting to be a part of the team, but it's something that I have to push myself forward to do instead of being the opposite, which is being needy and clingy and wanting to have thousands of friends. It's just not who I am. So I have a different issue.
Yeah. Well, you bring up an interesting point, and I'm going to give you two extremes. If one person keeps agreeing, oh, okay, that's good, that's too clingy. Or one person is like not even showing any emotional reaction, that is too standoffish. Again, I purposely gave you two extremes, but as you're listening and you're taking down notes and you ask them, okay, so you're looking for this and this and this. So what that tells the other person is that, yes, you heard them and you understand where they're coming from, and there is no danger in them seeing you as either standoffish or as somebody that's too clingy. So you just have the right amount of that. And wherever you see there's a match, or you could say, you know what, this is what you're looking for. I got this. Let's see how this is a good match. And again, that's also a good word. Let's see how this is a good match, versus you telling them as to, I match like this because I have this, I can do this. Let them see that. Let them make the connection, because the more people make connections on their own, the more likely they are to hire you, buy from you. And sometimes you may come across a person that needs to be pushed a little bit. Then you could say, oh, okay, let's just work it out together. This is what you have, this thing, and this is what I have. So let's figure this out together. Let me show you how this matches with this, and please help me. Tell me if you agree with it or you have some different ideas. Never say if you disagree with it. Okay, again, be careful about the word you use. So let's see how this matches, or if, tell me how we can make this match. And then, so sometimes some people need to be pushed, just like you appear a certain way to somebody, the way somebody is, that may bring out the person in you. If the other person is actually standoffish, that actually might bring out the clingy person in you, because you're not getting much response from the other person. Then you become over eager and you start, oh, okay, let me show you, let me do this. So you may come across as over eager and clingy, but maybe that's who they are and that's how they process things. So it's always a good idea to kind of get the confirmation. Okay, so here we are, this is what we are looking for. Is that correct? And they say, yes, that's good enough. They don't have to be, yay, you're the best candidate. You don't have to jump up and down like Tom Cruise did on the sofa, or, you know, something like that. So you don't have to do that. So some people process things, you know, they don't show too many emotions. So that's who they are. So we need to understand that. And but it's very interesting, depending upon how the other person is, we actually start reacting too. So we got to watch out for that part as well. Because if the person is too eager, then we start, oh, back off. Wow, I mean, that's too much. So it's all about understanding, you know, what is needed in that moment. All right. Okay, so any other questions? We are at 5:32 and we have the class, and I know you have, some of you have already done your presentations on YouTube. Some of you want to do the presentations. So any last questions? Otherwise, I'll see you in the class.
Yes, I am probably one of the few who will be giving a live presentation
Okay,
because I come from a communications speech background as well as Toastmasters. So I always prefer live, and of course anything can happen, but at the same time it's more engaging, and for myself it's more genuine. So I feel more comfortable live.
Sure. Good. Awesome. All right, so looking forward to your part, and I'll see you in a few minutes in the class. Okay, have a good one.
See you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Bye.
Professor.
You're welcome. Okay, bye.
Yes, thank you.